Hey guys, my name is Wyatt419,
Hi, I'm Gulag Explorer,
and this is a podcast. Apparently,
apparently.
apparently,
Yeah,
uh, we watched Edgerunners, and unsurprisingly, it sucked.
yeah.
What, what did you think of the Runners of the Edge?
I thought it was the best show of the year. I I I I I loved it so much. Uh,
Please enlighten me.
uh,
What did you love?
like that first part where David's talking. I loved that.
Uh,
Then he touched tips with his bullies. That's when I was invested.
at first, I thought that was the part where they decided to do conflict resolution, where if you essentially touch another man's penis with your own penis, that's how we get world peace. But apparently, that's not the case.
What?
Okay,
I am
yeah.
shocked.
Shocked and or appalled. So, quick question: what do you think makes a good protagonist?
It's the person that always wins no matter what.
Well, yes, but actually, no. Uh, a protagonist is a guy that moves your plot forward. He's the guy that does all the heavy lifting. That's why they're always super muscular at 12 years old in every single anime ever.
Yeah.
But what makes a good protagonist is someone where when you look at them on screen and you see them, you learn something about them every time. Their motives, what drives them, what they do when someone does something. A good example would actually be someone like Thanos from Infinity War. That's why people actually like that movie instead, and not all the others except for Iron Man, the first one, by the way.
Yeah, the first and best.
The first and best. Yes. Why did they like those two protagonists? Because every single time they were on screen, they were doing something or saying something that was important to the plot and story. Everything David Martinez never does ever, not even once. Not even once.
Not even one.
Okay.
You're clearly wrong.
Okay. So, what did you like of this quote unquote show?
It was very pretty.
that it was. That it was. It was animated by Studio Trigger, mostly known for Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann.
Yeah, and Kill la Kill.
Kill la Kill was good until they added plot, then it sucked. But I digress. So I thought the animation was fantastic. I also liked that how well they used the setting with shit happening in the background. I like that. I like that a lot. I like the character designs. I liked everything you could see. I just did not enjoy anything I could hear. What about you?
Yeah.
So, what I did not like was the script and the music. The script, they were like, "Hey, young person that I hired because of nepotism." Remember, the story was written by a Polish guy, so this is all in Polish.
Yeah, it's all because of the Japanese Jews.
Okay. The script was written by a small child who watched too many episodes of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the music is it felt literally like a guy went onto Google. It's like, what do the kids listen to these days?
Yeah,
And then
he
they
just
play
googled top 40.
top 40 tracks that are loved by kids these days.
Yeah, the creator walks in. Hello, fellow children.
But in Polish again. Just like that thing that happened with Ukraine and Poland, they should have shot a missile at this Polish farmer. So, all right. So now we got this out of the way. How about we do a quick overview? Because we need to do this episode by episode. Because if I'm gonna suffer, you're gonna suffer with me.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have watched it to completion somehow.
Yeah, I wanted to kill myself slightly more than when I started.
This was the first time in my life I forced myself to watch something. It wasn't fun.
you forced your so you forced the show upon yourself.
Yeah, the show touched me inappropriately.
Now, well, some parts did touch me appropriately, but those were just the animation parts. Okay, so episode 1. We have the best protagonist ever, according to the script, David Martinez. What does he like to do? He loves to watch live leaks and fucking what do you call that shit you put on your eyes?
VR.
VR pornography, if you will.
Hey, sometimes you just gotta watch some VR pornography.
Yeah, and
sometimes your bully is Ken Shiroing too hard.
You're going too far ahead. Start at the beginning.
Sorry for spoilers.
Yes, don't ever spoil again. Okay, so he watches live leaks where Chuck Norris kills a bunch of guys, and then pornography. And then if that didn't prove to you that he's the best person ever, just wait until you see him talk to his mother, who works her hands to the bone,
Yeah.
so she can send her boy to private school. And then he's like, "Yeah, well, our ultra capitalistic washing machine needs money."
Hashtag best washing machine.
And then she says like, "Okay, go to school and buy your high school DLC." And he's like, "Fuck you, mom."
Fuck you, mom. I don't have to listen to you.
No, he didn't do that. He's like, okay, whatever. And then he leaves. And then it turns out he did not do that. He went somewhere off screen to buy a shitty, cracked version of School DLC. And then he blew up the entire classroom, which in real life, kids will be like, "This man is legendary." And you'll be like, "I meant to do that the entire time." And then he will be the most famous guy his school has ever produced, because kids are kids and kids are assholes. But what the kids then do is they hate him for being poor, not for his personality, but because of his socio-economic status, which is poor.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, we get a day off. Those darn poor people."
Don't you just hate it when poor people do something cool?
Like, I hate school, but I hate poor people more.
Yes, and then David is like, "Oh, I'm the edgiest boy to ever edge," and everybody's like, "We hate you because you're poor." It's like, not because I'm edgy. They're like, "No, we." Okay, and then after they drive home from school, David's mom does her absolute best to be the only interesting character in the show, where she actually cares, and David's like, "You know what? Maybe I should become a bricklayer or something." And instead of having a meaningful dialogue, so that we can actually see how these two characters interact and love each other, the writers do the only logical thing, and they kill her.
Yeah. Yeah, they kill her, and then they bring her back, and then they kill her again.
And then they try to psych you out to play with your emotions.
Yeah, then they're like, "Ah, you fools, you thought she was alive, but she's dead again. Here is her jar with her ashes."
Yeah, but before that, the ambulance is like, "Oh no, she's poor, let her die," because that's how it works, right?
Yeah. One of the remove scenes is like, "Why did we do that?" And they're like, "How else is David gonna get to San Devistan?"
That is true, because a little bit earlier, his mother got a message like, "Oh, that blah 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 crime maybe." I'm like, "Wow, this could be interesting," and then they fucked it up. But why though? It's a case of they just want to do the spectacle thing, where the show is the embodiment of spectacle over substance. It's basically a fucking 4-hour display of explosions and titties. Now, don't get me wrong. I love explosions and titties just as much as the next guy. But after a while, you get desensitized to explosions and titties, and that's tragic.
Yeah, it's okay. Remember, this show handles mental diseases the best.
Mental disease.
So after all the explosion and 30s have dried up, you can see that sweet mental illness.
Yes, that, and I'm probably sure they learned all about mental illness on Tumblr just for the show. It truly is a time where mental illness is treated with such care and respect.
Glitchy eyes.
Glitchy eyes, yeah. All right, so after, oh wait, we forgot about the best part. At school, the bullies are like, stop being poor in my presence. Dave's like, you know what? I'm gonna leave. And he's like, no, you're not. Choom.
He called me a choom. What a gonk.
And then something no one else apparently has noticed. They then aggressively touch tips.
Yeah.
They're like, oh.
I have not seen it on any of the meme websites, and I think that's tragic.
That is truly the tragedy of our time.
Yeah. Because they're clearly touching tips.
Yes, and then the only redeeming part about the show is that the bully has watched one of the best stories ever told, which would be Fist of the North Star, because there's the and then he kicks David's ass like he's his, I don't know. He pummels the boy
like a redheaded stepchild.
Yeah, like his a stepfather should have. Maybe would have gotten him on the right track.
Yeah.
But, And then at the end of the day, he goes back into he breaks into the apartment him and his mother used to live in a technological time where that should be very obvious to catch this little son of a bitch, but apparently it doesn't.
Yeah, it's all the corporation's fault.
Of course, yes. And then he finds a piece of technology called the Sam Devistan. Oh my, what does it do? It's that thing from the beginning, that thing that Chuck Norris used to kill those guys. And then he goes to Sebastian, and then he said, I would like you to install this upon my spine. And the guy's like, okay.
I don't see why not, child.
Yeah, whatever.
You seem like a good child. I think I'll fuck you up.
Yeah. Yeah. And what did you like from episode 1?
What I liked, I liked the way they touched tips. That was hilarious.
And I like the fact that touching tips isn't gay. That's very progressive. But on the other hand, it is a sign, like the throwing of the glove to start a duel. Yeah. So I'm kind of torn.
Yeah, if the camera just a little bit down, you would have seen. He put a little white glove on his dick.
Or it could be a case of some psychological warfare, because I don't know about you, but I can't fight back with a boner. Can you?
Yeah, David did seem to be into it.
He enjoyed it a little bit too much, and what did he get in return?
He got the beats.
Yeah, his face got punched in the face, and you know what? He deserves it, because I hate him and everything he stands for. Okay, right. But the animation is fantastic. Yeah, I loved it. Every single frame is amazing. Like I said, everything I see, I love. Everything I hear, I hate. Okay, so now we're moving on to episode 2. If you're thinking this overview is way too quick, you just have to understand not much happens in the show that we can really talk about. Like I said, if you watch it, wow. If you see it, if you listen, ugh. Okay.
Yeah, just turn off the audio.
Yeah, just turn off the audio. It's an improvement.
Yeah.
Kind of like this podcast. Okay. Episode 2. David decides he wants a rematch. Now, our bully is a fan of Fist of the North Star, and he has technology. So what does David do? He goes one better. He gets better technology, and he watches The Matrix. He's like, whoa, I know speed. He's like, I am Sonic the Hedgehog. And then he runs away from school, and then he wanders around aimlessly. That boy who got beaten up, his dad talks to someone off screens like, we could use him because he has plot armor and shit, and that basically goes nowhere. Like, oh, whatever. And then he goes on a train. Do you want to explain to our non-existent listeners what he does on the train?
Oh, he's just there minding his own business. When he suddenly sees SD cards being forcefully ejected, and then he stumbles into the crime plot.
Yes. Now, by crime plot, we mean main girl. She has her name is Lucy, and she is what is referred to as a picksocket because stupid names are a thing here, and stupid words used stupidly is a trend. And then she's like, "Oh, you want to help me steal these SD cards?
For no apparent reason, I don't know you. You just seem kind of hot.
Like you're fast as fuck, boy." And then he's like, "You are titties."
Yeah, I am Speed.
I am Speed. Speed Racer. Okay, so they then steal, and then it turns out that you need drugs. You need lots and lots of drugs.
Yeah, so many baby aspirin.
So many baby aspirin to it's immunosuppressant drugs for reasons, and then they get mugged by an EMT. It's like, I'm gonna save your life. No, wait, this thing on his back is expensive. I could sell it. And then they jump out of a moving ambulance, which was actually kind of cool.
Yeah, it's kind of hot.
It was kind of hard. I love that. Whenever they don't speak, I love it so much. And then something unexpected happens. Lucy takes David to her place, and an actually well-written piece happens where she tells him, "Oh, her dream is to go to the moon. She just wants to leave this place," and she shows him a VR headset space of the metaverse, but the moon. And it was actually very well done. I thought that was really great. And then it turns out it was all a ploy to stall him so the criminals can come and take back the Sandevistan. I was pleasantly surprised. At first, I really thought this was them actually putting in some effort because episode 1 was obviously written by a toddler.
Yeah, ignore that first episode. It's like bastard. We're just gonna do episode 1 from. We're gonna start fresh.
Yes, but still, I actually liked that scene. It was a really good scene. What did you think about the moon scene?
Moon scene was awesome. They jump around in space.
Yeah,
and then you're like, oh, okay, maybe they. You're still kind of disappointed because David's mother was killed because of crime, and he's just like, oh yes, I love this crime woman.
Yes, some would say crime woman is best girl.
So it's still kind of sad.
Yes, but what I really liked about this episode was the moon scene because, from what I could tell, Lucy used actual honesty and sincerity against David, and that was really, really well done. And the second thing I liked was the use of the word gonk. It's like, what is this gonk poster? Because I don't know, what does gonk and choom, what does that sound like to you? Because it doesn't sound like actual curse words to me.
That sounds like the dopest of slang.
But to be fair,
as a Zoomer myself, I can see myself using this slang on a day-to-day.
Okay, but okay, to be fair, these days people use slang like "this shit be bussin'."
Yeah,
so I understand. It just sounds stupid. It's like, I think it's because most real slang, it flows like it be bussin', it's lit, the slaps. But things like gonk and choom, it feels awkward to say.
Yeah.
I think that's why people are like, this is dumb. Why? Because it is.
But those people would be gonks.
That's very gonky.
Yeah, they're not cool chooms like me.
You said in that context, it actually feels more like a racial slur.
Yeah, that's remember I called my cat Gonk Man.
Oh no. Are you a fan of Hit Point Lovecraft?
Yeah, I'm especially fond of uh that guy from Scooby Doo.
Hatecraft.
Yeah, the monster who has no name.
Shargoth Gothicon.
Shoggoth Gothicon, the beast who
We
hath
have
no
no
name.
name. Okay. Now, did you like anything except for the moon scene? Because I did not.
I love the fact that they can forcefully eject SD cards. I found that hilarious.
But you can, okay, that is true. But the question is, how do they not know that their SD cards are being stolen? Because according to Newton's third law of motion, every action has an equal opposite reaction. What that means is, as soon as it ejects, they should feel a little in their neck, and they'll be like, "Why did someone steal my SD card?"
Yeah, nobody pressed it in a little bit. How weird.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you for your input. Okay, so now we go to episode 3. Now Lucy's boss is a big black man by the name of Maine, and he's like, "You stole my thing. Why did you steal my thing? And where is the person who was supposed to give me the thing?" And David's like, that was my mom and she's dead. And he's like, okay. And then he's like, you know what? I'm gonna use my powers of persuasion to make you part of your gang. Main's like, no. And then David's like, yeah. And Main's like, nuh-uh. And then David's like, yeah. And then everyone's like, that checks out.
Everyone's like, oh shit, he's the main character. Dawn.
Oh no, he's got plot armor. That might help us in our next job.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay.
And then Big Black Man is like, I can't. It was supposed to be my son, Devastan, you asshole.
That was supposed to be mine, even though everybody knows that it makes you go mentally ill.
Get the glitchy eyes.
Yeah, and only non-main characters get glitchy eyes, and everybody's a main character in their own eyes, their own glitchy eyes. Okay, all right. So then Main's like, you know what? I'm gonna give you a job. And it's like honest work, and then they laugh at him.
I've always wanted to become a plumber.
Don't worry, kid, you're gonna lay some pipe soon. Okay. So their first job is to steal some information from a car. And the driver, after he gets sexually assaulted by a lolly, and he enjoys it, and that was weird. And then David and Lucy get in the car. They try to steal the data. I don't know why this is a two-person job, but oh well. Then the guy comes out. He's like, "What? You're trying to steal something that belongs to me?" And then they steal the car and try, and hijinks ensue. And nothing much happens. It's just a bunch of guys chase after them, and they die.
Yeah. So little happens. I can barely remember the episode.
Yes, me too.
I think
What I do remember is at the end there's this one guy with 3 eyes on the one side of his head. He sounds like that guy from Team America World Police. The guy's like, "I need you to suck my cock." It's like, what? It's not about sex, it's about trust. And he's like, "Oh no, wait, that's the wrong one. I need you to tick these boxes." And everyone's like, "You're confusing." And what eye do I look at? And then he's like, "I don't know."
just pick one. I don't care.
just pick any 2 of the 4 in my face.
Yeah. Try to keep it horizontal and not vertical, and then we'll go from there.
Yes, and then he leaves, and everybody has a party.
Yeah, and then I think this is the episode where David he gets called by the school and they're like, "Hey, David, do you wanna
Yes.
do you wanna return to civilization?" And he
And
tells them to fuck off.
basically, yes. And it's almost like they were doing their best to salvage that thing in the previous episode where they're like, oh, he could use San Devastate without his head exploding. Maybe we could use him for something. And they're like, okay, cool. And then they start playing Galaga or something. And then it's like, oh, you come back to school because we, for totally non-nefarious reasons, we swearsies. And he's like, how about you guys fuck off? I'm gonna learn from the streets.
Yeah, I'm not like you.
Nor me.
I don't want to work in a cubicle and do an honest day's work.
But
disgusting.
Disgusting. Okay, and then episode 4. Oh wait, before we move along, I'm sorry. What did you enjoy from that episode? I really enjoyed that part where the Team America World Police guy shows up. That was hilarious.
I enjoyed that it ended in 20 minutes flat. That was delightful.
I did cry, but not because it was so good, but because you stopped me from killing myself. Okay.
I was like, it's over, and then I got really happy. But then I saw, oh, we're on episode 4.
Episode 4 is the next one.
Yeah.
Oh no. Okay. All right. The last time I was that sad was when my mom and dad said they were getting back together. Okay, so episode 4. The tech guy, whose name I don't care enough about to remember.
Yeah, he's the Lolly's brother.
He's the Lolly's brother.
Yeah.
And then
very important.
They see a homeless guy pissing, and they're like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go fuck with this poor homeless guy.
Because fuck him, he's peeing on my turf.
Yeah, and not just peeing; it doesn't fucking end. Like, did he get an implant where like 80% of his organs get taken out, and it's just a massive bladder? Like, you know what I love doing? I love pissing. Yeah, and you know what I hate? Not pissing.
Yeah, he did it so he can. Every time somebody bothers him, he says, "I can't talk right now. I'm making piss."
And then Animal I Have Become starts playing. Okay, so the tech guy, who is a tech guy, decides to get up in the face of a guy, which was stupid. And also I didn't care because poor characterization is a thing. And then he gets his brains blown out. I'm like, finally something happens.
Yeah. Oh look, the plot is moving forward slightly.
And by slightly you mean not at all. Okay. And then Dave, this whole episode is getting David to shoot someone in the face.
Yeah, like 1 millisecond of should I do that? 1 millisecond of David asking himself, just wait, am I the baddie?
Yes, and then it turns out that the second best character in the show is the lolly, whose name I decided to remember because I like her. Her name is Rebecca. That's the one. And she's like, oh no, the one who should have killed my brother was supposed to be me. I'm like, I already like you more than David. Good job.
Yes. Because I hate that other guy, and he's dead. And you are also happy that he's dead. And yes. I can relate to that on a personal level.
Yes. And then we're going to have our second and last Team America World Police reference, where David and Lucy somehow formed a relationship off screen, of course, because writing good dialogue to facilitate people actually liking each other is hard. And then they have the conversation where it's like, I'll have sex with you if you promise to never die. And David immediately promises, I will never, ever, ever die. Please give me exactly 1 crumb of pussy.
That seems like a red flag to me.
Remember,
is that a dog whistle?
Remember, it's like that quote from BoJack Horseman: if you wear rose-colored glasses, red flags look like flags. And that's exactly what this episode is about. Crime is bad. Don't promise you'll live forever. Kill IT guys. The usual.
Yeah, fuck the IT guys.
Yeah, fuck the IT guys. I just hate IT guys.
I fucking hate IT guys just sitting around doing stuff at computer for a weirdly long amount of time.
Yes, and then all you have to do is switch it off and on again, and then it
Yeah.
works. But we're going on a tangent that we shouldn't be going on because there's so little going on in this fucking show that we have to make up our own dialogue just to make it last longer. Isn't that fucking sad?
Yes. Thank you. What's that studio's name?
Trigger.
Studio Trigger. Thanks, Trigger.
Trigger. Yeah, they should start this show with a trigger warning. The warning is the animation is good, the rest is ass.
Yeah, just fucking steal the visuals. Be about your business.
Yes. Okay.
Put the
Episode
visuals.
5. The least happens in this episode. I've never seen a non-episode this long ever. I'm pretty sure even watching Paint Dry would have a better plot than this episode. Because our protagoon, they decide to kidnap the guy who makes the live leaks to kidnap fucking a Japanese guy, which is also the bully, and then hijinks ensue, and it ends up with the live leak guy dead, and the bully's dad being beaten up.
Yeah, I have nothing to say.
Yes, but there was one part that was hilarious. It was the part where this chick called Kiwi, when she gets out of the tub, because apparently if you hack, you have to hack naked.
In the nude. It helps you focus.
It helps you focus somehow. As she walked out, you see David staring straight up in that vagina.
Yeah, David's like, damn, I wish I wasn't a virgin.
No, he isn't, because remember, he got some of Lucy.
Yeah, I can't remember what episode that was on.
No, that was in episode 4.
Okay, so he's like, I'm not a virgin, looks at vagina furiously.
Aggressively. I don't know why that's not a meme. It's a case of you see Maine and then you see David staring straight at the crotch. The meme should be me and my friend go to a strip club. My friend be cool, me staring straight. Yeah. It's like nothing happened. Nothing at all. I couldn't believe that actually took a lot of talent for so much of nothing to happen.
Yeah.
I was actually impressed by how little happened in 20 minutes. It's like I could have sat there, thought about nothing, and more would have happened. Okay. Yeah. And now we get to the second half. Oh wait, before we move along, quick question. What did you like, except for the vagina staring contest? The vagina lost, by the way, because he's the protagonist.
He slays vaginas. David Rodriguez, pussy slayer.
and to be fair, he's so forgettable that his last name isn't Rodriguez. Martinez.
Yeah.
I'll have you know.
It's okay. No, nobody really watched the show. If people had really watched the show, they would have known it sucks.
They would remember we're living in the present where people don't like good dialogue. They don't like good characterization. They like titties and explosions, and every now and then a quote that sounds deep but is actually as shallow as a puddle.
So, what did I like about the episode?
Yes.
Nothing. I can think of nothing.
The theme song is kind of.
When the opening starts, it tricks you because it starts pretty cool, and then the rest of the opening happens.
That is true. The opening does happen.
Sad.
No matter what I do, it will never stop happening. Okay. So, and then this is the end of the first half of the show. This is the good, the happy part. Something that's also quite common, where it's like everything was going swell until it didn't.
Yeah, this was their golden age.
Ugh, I hate that because when you make a show, you need to put the emotional parts at the beginning, so that you can so that your audience can form a sort of bond with your characters. And the easiest way to do that is to put these characters in a situation that is relatable or people have a frame of reference for. If you had made it so that David wasn't a complete prick to his mother, you might have actually cared when she died, but you didn't because the show sucks. Okay, so episode 6 starts with "It sucks now," apparently. Because
remember those happy times? They're gone now.
5, Maine was fine. He showed no symptoms of the glitchy eyes. In episode 6, he's so mentally ill that his eyes can't stay in frame. And this was foreshadowed extremely poorly with the homeless guy. Because if Maine had suddenly started pissing, that would have been better foreshadowing for that than the glitchy eyes. Everyone also has their emotions dialed up to 11 or to infinity and beyond, or whatever buzzword you want to use, because everybody's the writers desperately need you to be sad, and they do it terribly. And do you know why they do it like this?
Why?
Because it works. People don't want good writing anymore. They want explosions and titties with sadness sprinkled on, because they saw a picture on Tumblr with a sad cat that said, "This is what I feel like when I'm depressed." And then they're like, "You know what? I diagnosed myself with stage 4 depression."
Yeah. I'm very sad.
Yeah.
I can't afford the hang in there kitty poster.
Yes, I can't afford to hang in there. Now, I understand what Kurt Cobain was going through. No, you did not. Shut the fuck up. Get some help. So, then Maine decides to kill everyone, and then Human Master Splinter begs for his life, or Uncle Iroh, or whatever Japanese person's name you want to put in there. It's like, "Do you want some calming jasmine tea, Davidson?" David's like, "I'm suddenly extremely sad, and I did crime without flinching for episodes, and now suddenly I don't know what to do." And then Lucy decides, "Do you know what? I'm gonna be best girl again." She unleashes her USB-C in the back of her head. She goes and hacks the old man. And then everybody dies. Maine dies. His butch lesbian girlfriend dies. Fat Japanese man dies. David almost dies because he's a retard. Lucy is sad for reasons. The voice acting was exceptionally good in this episode, but what they said was dumb.
Yeah. A lot happened, and yet I don't care.
Yes, because the emotional beats that they should have hit in the beginning, or they saved that for the mid-season, which is not good.
The writer woke up, he's like, wait a minute. It's been 5 episodes and we have done nothing. We need to do something before the audience catches on.
Yes, and the best part is people believe this shit. They're like, "Oh, they portrayed it so well." It's like, no, they didn't.
It's a masterpiece.
It's not. The only thing I actually saw was okay, these people have no regard for their own personal safety, and then they die.
They look at David and they're like, yeah, that's totally me.
You know what? I also like the Matrix, just like David.
Yeah, I was also beaten up because I'm a horrible person.
I too had a terrible faux hawk hairstyle.
I do like the gangster rap.
I do have a friend who's a doctor and also Jamaican.
I also have one black friend.
Well, at least you're not racist.
Just don't ask me what my cat's name is. We're all right.
I thought you said it was Gonk Man.
Hey, that's our word.
Yeah. And the only thing that the audience that enjoyed the show can't relate to is the fact that David had sex.
David had sex. That's why they had to amp up the story. They were like, "Oh no, the virgins are leaving." There are.
Bring her back.
How do we do that? Let's kill some people.
Sometimes you just need to kill people to bring in the virgins because that's what the FBI does.
They're like, "Hello, fellow youth. You know what I like? AR-15s."
Maybe me too. I also like the AR-15s. Like, we got it, boys.
Maybe even me. I like the AR-15s.
Okay, so what did you like from this episode?
I was happy. Less characters. Less characters that I am gonna eventually forget.
Okay, but here's the problem with less characters. That means the hate you shared amongst them all will be more focused to the characters that are alive.
Yeah, okay. It's a more concentrated hate, mostly going towards David.
Yes.
Because he if he had just done the polite thing and died in episode 1, we could have skipped all of this.
Yes. That is true. That is true. You know what? I can't refute you. I cannot rebuke you, as they say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I got my opinion from a peer-reviewed study.
And just so you know, I am that peer. I wrote the book on why David's an asshole because for the first time in my life, I didn't hate myself. Thank you, David.
Domo arigato, David-san.
David Kun. All right, so, but the fact that they tried to ramp up the emotions so far into the season was, in my opinion, a bad call. If they had done that earlier, because me personally, I don't like the whole cyberpsychosis thing. It feels unnecessary. Because if you're going to do a show about people shooting each other and doing crime, why would you want to put something like cyberpsychosis in there? You're just putting in more hurdles for your writers to jump over. The simpler your story is, the easier it is to watch, the easier it is to like. You don't need a massively complex narrative, which they did not do, by the way, to make a good show. Okay, now let's move on to episode 7. Another one where very few things happen. David has discovered the joys of Dynaball because he's fucking Jack.
Yeah. I'm sure this was technically a time skip.
It was.
But you have no context for how long, though.
Yeah, it could be from 2077 to late 2077. You don't know.
Yeah. I know, I think I looked up the time. I think it takes it's like a couple of years before 2077.
It doesn't matter because the show is shit, the game is shit. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so David he's main 2. It's like the Mexican black guy now. So he does the job. Him and his crew have insane plot armor because he just stands there menacingly and nobody hits him with a bullet ever.
Yeah, if they had turned the camera around, you just see a bunch of stormtroopers.
Exactly, you're exactly right there. And then you find out that Rebecca is the voice of reason. She's the coolest character. She just does shit.
Yeah, she's like,
I love her.
She's like, babe, I think you should tone it down with all those fucking robot parts.
No, it's not that far yet. But she does a trick with a shotgun. She just shoots people. She enjoys being. She's living her best life. She proved to me that she's more than just an obligatory lolly. Because the studio trigger is like, we need the Rories.
Yeah, we have to have one lolly. How else is people gonna know that we are Japanese?
Yes. Um, and then Lucy, you get a bit of her backstory. You find out that she worked in Russia with a bunch of children to mine Bitcoin.
Yeah, go to the Bitcoin mines. We took them out of the Bitcoin mines and now they're hacking. They yearn for the mines.
Yes, and just like in real life, going after Bitcoin, it ended very badly with everybody dying.
Yeah, they're hacking the mainframe and they're dying because of it somehow.
Yes, because apparently you need to jump into the web where you can die instead of sitting behind a screen where you're safe.
Yeah,
And the only way you can die is from poor life choices.
yeah. Yeah, he died. She died because of poor life decisions.
Exactly. But I have to say, the only character with actual characterization is Lucy. It feels like she should have been the main character and not David.
Yeah, not my good friend David.
David. David. David Gonzalez.
Yeah, it's Rodriguez, alsjeblieft.
Oh, sorry. I forgot. Yes, and like Lucy's like, I'm sad now and I'm not part of the crew. And okay.
Yeah, oh, people died. I'm sad now.
Yes, whatever. It's like, that's actually a good story. I want to know more about that. And then once again, the show does the only logical thing and goes back to David.
Because why would you not? He's such a cool dude.
I wish I was like David.
Yeah, looks at David. That's me.
That's what peak male performance looks like, apparently.
Yeah, like in a good thing. You look at the protagonist and you're like, oh, dang, I want to go to the gym. You look at David, you want to fucking play with your VR.
Yes, I was like, I do want to watch live leaks.
I do want to jerk off while I'm watching live leaks,
Yes.
like a freak.
No. Like your average 14-year-old. Because I'm pretty sure everybody, in my instance, it was against my will. A friend of mine showed me a live leak at 14. I was disgusted.
Like, disgusting.
Yes. Has it ever happened to you where someone showed you a fucking beheading video against your will?
Yes, and then I'm like, oh, what is this, friend of mine?
I was like, what is this, ex-friend of mine?
And then, oh, you have betrayed me.
Yes.
You have betrayed my trust.
Yes. Okay. Now let's move on to episode 8 because episode 7, I hated everything. I even hated myself again. Good job, show. So episode 8, David, after consuming way too many Dynaballs, he has a slight case of roid rage. He shoots a bitch, which is somehow different from
Oh yeah,
all the other people he shot.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that.
Yes, and I felt nothing but joy from his
From his despair. Cause
and
fuck
his
David.
suffering and inner turmoil.
Cause fuck David.
Yes, and because he didn't understand that he was going through the mental illness his mentor died from. It's truly a case of masterful storytelling.
Yeah, just remember, David, he's built different.
Thanks, Obama.
David, I'm just built different. Quote taken from David Rodriguez, 2077.
2076. December 2076. Oh no, that's foreshadowing. Spoilers. Okay.
That reminds me of the only nostalgia critic joke I can remember. where there's like heavy foreshadowing for something, and then he says, can the foreshadowing get any deeper? And then he took a 4, he cut it out, and he put it in some shadow.
Oh no, that's comedy gold.
Yeah.
The only nostalgic critic joke I can remember is Nicolas Cage dressed as a bear punching a woman in the face.
Yeah.
Okay, moving along. Lucy, on the other hand, is shown to be best girl because she does what every single keyboard warrior wish they could do, and she kills people.
Yeah, well, you were out there being a corpo. I was studying the keyboard.
The keyblade.
Be gone, Satan.
Okay. And then she and David have a dramatic moment. You can't see it, but I'm actually doing the finger quotes so often that I think I might be developing some arthritis. And then they have a falling out, and then they do the whole cliche thing where the second she leaves, she gets captured by Team America World Police guy. It's like, I need you to suck my cock. I mean, come with me, damn it.
Yeah, for reasons.
Yes, because this derailed plot needs to go somewhere.
Yeah, they're like, she's the best gosh darn Bitcoin miner I've ever seen in my life.
If she comes after you, you might want to take your own life. Give them a hammer. Okay, so what I liked about this episode is the fact that Lucy's an actual badass, and David's suffering caused me immense joy.
Yeah, David's sad. That makes me happy.
Yes,
he's like there. He's looks at TV. He's like, I got these huge muscles, but for what?
Yes, yeah. It's really a good case of just going to the gym won't solve all your problems. You need to solve your problems and then go to the gym.
He's thinking maybe I should have gone to school.
What is 1 + 1? Looks at the TV whilst naked. Yeah, it's like everybody's like, I wish I could be as buff as David. Yes, then go to a mechanic. Those muscles aren't natural. He's like a rock, a fake and a fraud.
Yeah, you just gotta get a Sandevistan, and you too can be a protagonist.
No, you need a Sandevistan. You also need the special juice in your blood that makes it not kill you immediately.
Yeah, you also need at least one lolly.
That's true. Okay. What did you like?
Yeah, David's dad make me happy. Yeah, it's like me sees David sad and neurons activate.
David, why are you sad? He's like, it's a skill problem.
Just a couple hours ago, I was watching a video about a VTuber watching Cyberpunk, and then at the end, she's like, David, how could this happened? And then that, opposed to my reaction at the end, was pure joy.
Yes, I do enjoy the suffering of David because fuck that guy.
Yeah.
All right, now we're at episode 9. We're almost there. Almost there. All right. The fact that David can handle a lot of implants without going glitchy eyes comes up again because the bad guys decided to read the script again, and they're like, oh wait, David's antivirus isn't up to date, and he's starting to get the glitchy eyes.
Yeah, they're like, oh, David, he's just built different.
Yeah, but it turns out he was just the same as all the edgy sons of bitches. And then in true crime fashion, David gets tricked into wearing some weird armor that cuts off his arms and legs. And it's super useful except for the fact that it doesn't protect his organs.
If one of those stormtroopers, they accidentally get a stray bullet in the kidney, he's fucking dead.
Yes. And that sucked. That whole thing, that like a double cross, triple cross, quadruple crossing happens, and they're like, oh no, I'm on your side. No, I'm not. And like, suck my cock. And what's happening? they trick him so easily because he's a dumbass.
Yeah.
And also Rebecca was the voice of reason. She's like, I think you need to cut back, my guy. And he's like, fuck you. And she's
Yeah.
like, I still care.
But why though?
She wants that bean.
He wants the David Bean because
She
he's just built different.
wants to be gonked in the tomb.
I want you to gonk me, David.
Then he gonks her and sends her to horny jail.
Yeah, we did like the Mad Max thing where we're just gonna drive out the desert.
Yeah, why?
You want to see explosions? Yeah, shut the fuck up. Stop asking so many questions.
I just enjoy the pretty colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really a case of not much happens that's plot related. The action scenes were good. Crazy Lolly was good.
David's love interest is like, David, why did you so easily fall into their trap? And he's like,
Like that meme, you know, the one where the girl yells, David, you can't handle any more implants. David's like, glitchy eyes.
You can't handle more implants, but David, I'm just built different, y'all.
Yes. And this whole thing about him being special and not special comes up a bunch of times, and I thought that was stupid. They basically tried to... They're trying to rip off everything at the same time. Like the case with like Attack on Titan with Eren. Him being a non-special guy, being given special powers, and at the end he sacrificed himself like a dumbass for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, then Mikasa joins a church or something.
You know, she becomes a nun because no penis can satisfy except Eren's.
She's like, fuck. Now I only have Armin left, and then she kills herself.
Like, I've got Armin. And Armin's like, I'm not that bad.
Your head looks like a penis, Armin.
Yeah. Armin, then she goes in close and whispers very gently in his ear, I should have chosen Erwin. And then Armin's like, yeah, I know! It should have been me who died! I'm glad we could agree on something. And then she leaves him. All right, so episode 10, the last episode, and as you can tell, I'm happy because I'm almost done with this shit show.
Yeah.
Now, double crosses, triple crosses, I don't care about happen. And then the best character in the show gets introduced. Adam Smasher. This man is a brain in the jar that only loves to kill. And that's it.
Yeah, he's actually built different.
He is built different. He's literally a brain in a jar.
It's everything that David wants to be in a character.
In a can. But he does do one thing that I found unforgivable. He killed Rebecca, who is best girl.
Yeah, they're like, okay, well, we have to kill everyone off. So might as well start with the lolly.
Oh, that hurt me deeply because I actually liked Rebecca. She was a good character. She was the voice of reason. Even though she was a psychotic little bitch, she tried to do the right thing sometimes.
Yeah, she's like, David, I think you need to... No, I'm not accusing you of anything. I just want you to stop taking the things you're taking.
And then he's like, hi, Mom! Like, she's like, I'm a head out.
It's like, David remembers, oh yeah, I once had a mother.
Yes. And then Adam Smasher, the first time they subverted my expectations, not only did he beat David, he did so effortlessly. It's like he just walked in, beat his ass, killed him, and left. It's like he was introduced as an unbeatable badass. And what does he do? He proves himself to be an unbeatable badass. And I loved it. That was really, really good. Especially the part where David dies.
best part.
Yeah, I shed a tear of joy.
It's like, oh, David, I love you. And as it was happening, I got a flashback. I remember when you promised you wouldn't die. Kind of a dick move, bro.
I know I promised I wouldn't die, but I wasn't born on time anyway.
David confirmed for promise breaker.
He pinky promised him everything.
Yeah, what a douche.
What a douchebag. And then Lucy somehow survives, even though she was dangling in front of the bullets the entire time. And then she decided to go to the moon.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go to the moon.
And then she T-poses for dominance.
And
because
then
I know what they were trying to do. They like, you know what? While we end this masterpiece of animation, we leave it ambiguous. Did she die or did she not? I don't know. You decide.
who cares? Anyway.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I think that she just deposes and then moves on with her life because David's a dumbass.
I like to think she T-poses on the moon and then Master Roshi destroys the moon.
It wasn't Master Roshi, it was a man who turned himself into a piccolo. The funniest shit I've ever seen.
In Dragon Ball, Master Roshi destroyed the moon.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I only watched Z and GT.
Only watched the Udist.
New Z Udist. Okay. So here's my closing thoughts. Okay. David, this is my closing thoughts on the show. After this, I'm going to talk a little bit about the setting and shit along those lines. David should not have been the main character. Lucy should have been the main character. If that, because her story was actually almost compelling. And the way she handles herself is also interesting. David is not. David's not interesting. David's not funny. David's not cool. The coolest thing about him was his mom, and she died. Now, if the writers had been fired and someone better brought in their place, and they had focused on Lucy and how she picked up David, and then David being the character who's a supporting character who destroys himself against her wishes just to see her smile, that would have been so much more compelling. But that's not what kids want. They want titties and explosions, and
you don't want to look at the main character and think that's so me.
Yeah, his hair looks so cool.
Yeah,
like that faux hawk. That's me.
Yes, that's so me.
That's so me. Okay, now what I think the cyberpunk setting is a really cool setting because it's a mix of science fiction and dystopia. Now, when I say science fiction, I don't mean like the do androids dream of electric sheep, that hard sci-fi shit. I mean like, oh, we've got this technology, it works. They're like, how does it work? It's like, I don't fucking care, it just works.
I don't know. Just drink 500 amino blockers and call me on Monday.
Yes, and that's totally fine. But the great thing is because it's science fiction and dystopia mixed, you have such a rich world because it's nice and shiny from the inside, from the outside, sorry. And then as you move inwards, it becomes more dirty and gross and ugh. And that's great because you have this thing that looks great from the outside, but from the inside, it's corrupt and oozy. And that's one of the, I would say, the perfect kind of stories you can write in that world is one where you've got a stranger moving into that world, where the layers get pulled back. Let's say, for example, a hitman gets hired to kill someone in Night City, but he's hired by a rich guy, and he has to infiltrate a gang. And then you see the dirt, even in the highest of corporate buildings, all this dirty ugliness, and you experience this with the main character. That's great. That's what cyberpunk is made for, not this yuppie horse shit where like, oh, this is cool, and then oh no, crime.
Oh no, I've stumbled into crime somehow. It totally wasn't my fault, guys.
Yes,
I didn't even have a choice in the matter.
Yes, and they fucking turn all the crime bits into a fucking montage. The
Yeah.
actual parts where you could flesh out the characters, what they do, what their places in the gang. All that was just a fucking montage.
Yeah, and besides that, they don't even show you why crime is the only option. It's like crime is the only option. Look at all the poor people. Do you think these people just don't want to work, or is it because it's hard to get work? And what when David said he wanted to leave school,
And get a job? Did he
yeah,
mean get a job robbing people?
yeah, that's why his mother cried. She was like, "I don't want you to do crime.
I don't want you to work
I want you to work in a cubicle."
like a good boy.
Yeah,
Yeah. And also they made this show as an add-on to the game. And if you're gonna do that, you shouldn't have a narrative focused story, which they didn't do, by the way. It should have actually been an anthology series, and the stories are usually best when it's a case of contrast uh, of the setting and the story. For example, the setting is very technologically advanced. People put more value on artificial than natural things. Now, if you take a story where it's a case, let's say, for example, a corpo and his bodyguard, it's just these two guys befriending each other, doing horrific shit. That would be way more interesting than this, and that is perfect for like short stories. And if you then you can flesh out the gangs, the corpos, the whatever group, the net runners. You can flesh out the world with an anthology way better than you could do with a narrative story, because a narrative story focuses on a character or a group of characters. Anthologies are short stories that focus on the world, but these people don't understand that. They think, oh no, you need a fucking long story that's written like a TTRPG where you just things just happen. You don't need to explain anything because everybody knows. No, that's not how it works. If you're gonna do a long form narrative, you need to uh, flesh out your characters, not just flesh out the glitchy eyes.
yeah. Just isn't it sad that David had this mental illness known as the glitchy eyes?
Which was his own fault because his mom died via crime. He joined crime. His mentor died via glitchy eyes. He's like, I'm gonna get glitchy eyes. How can that be called anything good when that's all you have?
Yeah, instead of being like, I'm gonna get all of the implants, he should have just did what the lolly did. I'm gonna get more guns.
Yes. But then the story wouldn't be sad, and David wouldn't sacrifice himself or fight back against his mental illness
Yeah,
just to sacrifice himself for his girlfriend.
yeah, like if you cried every time.
Yeah. But what can I say? Except this show wasn't good. It could have been good. There were hints of actual good storytelling,
Yeah, the
but
mother was cool.
the mother was cool. If even if they'd focused on her, where she does her best to get her son through school, and she does her best to keep him out of crime while she does crime, and that battle with her own morality, that would have been interesting too.
And then they were like, oh, we killed her. Ha, psych. Ah, double psych. I think they did it 3 times. So it's like, oh, she's dead. Not really, though. But she's dead again. Oh, shit. Now she's actually dead and she's in a jar.
Yeah, not just a jar, a fucking coffee can.
Yeah, they're like, here, David, take this. You can use it as a paperweight.
Yeah. And that's what he does with it. He just leaves it there. And like every now and then the show is like, oh shit, he's got a mom. Show him.
Yeah, show the mom.
Show the mom.
Yeah, it's the end. David pumping himself with immunoblockers because he fell into the trap of the corpos effortlessly.
Yeah.
They shouldn't even have gone through the trouble of sending them to the desert. They should have just stripped and thrown the the tech in front of David, he would have just jumped into it.
Yeah, he's like a fucking junkie. Or they do call him a chrome junkie at one point, and that's true. And even if they did try to do that route where, like, oh no, this is it's a symbolism for his addiction and not listening to the people around him about his addiction, that doesn't work.
It's symbolism for the drugs.
The drugs.
You know what? You know what kills people? The drugs.
Yeah, and there's a way easier way you could have done the drugs thing. For example, you could say that it's not the technology that they put on them that gives them the glitchy eyes. It's the immunoblockers, or you could say it's an anti-inflammatory juice that they spritz inside of themselves, that makes their tech work better. And if you use it long term, it causes you to go crazy, like actual drugs do. But that would have been a case of creativity, and which we also know they do not possess.
You can be creative.
Yeah, I will give this show the lowest score I can, which is green, and everybody knows green is not a creative color.
Green is not too great. I give it 1 David out of 10.
I give it a half a Lucy out of net running. I don't know.
I give it 1 David Rodriguez out of guts.
I awarded no points, and may God have mercy on their souls. All right. So, do you have anything to add at the end?
Nah, it's a horrible show.
Yeah.
May God have mercy on their souls.
Yes. In my closing statement, if you really want to watch something cyberpunk that's actually good, watch Psycho Pass and the original Total Recall. Total Recall, you might say it's not quite cyberpunk. I would like to disagree, because people call Die Hard a Christmas movie. So you are allowed to lick my balls. So I don't know how to say bye, because that's awkward. So I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah, konbanwa.
That's the wrong one. It's Ohana.
And that means family.
Damn it! It's aloha. It means hello and goodbye. In this case, I'm gonna say hello.
Hello to you too.
Until next time, our non-existent listeners.
Yeah.